This is a short video about using car chargers that are run from sockets. Yeah, the pros and cons, the delight of it, the slight hiccups that you might get, and things to be aware of. This is in conjunction with Lee. He's done a load of footage that he sent me from home, and I'm working it and putting it together. But these are his thoughts and my thoughts, and we've been conversing about this for a while, and at the end there will be a catch-up.
So I'm in the van now, and the power meter, the plug-in power meter at the other end of the line was showing something like 1.75 kilowatts. And the losses across the extension lead and the granny charge cable, which is set on the 9 amp setting, those losses, and the actual connection to the van, so that 250 watts losses, and the van is seeing 1.5 kilowatts, and the 9 amp setting on the granny cable doesn't equate to either of those figures. I think if you multiply the 9 amps by 240 volts, it's about 2.1 kilowatts. So the granny cable amperage settings are not true amperage settings. They're really just like settings from 6 amps to 13 amps, and the 13 amps isn't 13 amps. It actually tops out at 2,400 watts on the 13 amp setting. So that, I guess, is intentional to protect overheating an extension cord, because the extension cord that I'm using, the label says fully unwound, the rating is 3,120, but clearly if you use that again and again and again and subject it to the sort of heat that the current can produce, then what you'll find, I think, is that the plastic will start to harden and crack, or the plastic will melt. And the hardening and cracking is what we're seeing on the outside socket. And I think that's temperature that's doing that. So that's going to need monitoring. I've had this EV for about 2 years now. There have been some occasions where I've charged it at the 13 amp rate, and I think that these higher rates, sort of above 10 amps, these are the rates that are producing the heat, which is producing that cracking, I think. I'm just going to monitor that. It's not unsafe as it stands, but I'm going to monitor it. If it gets any worse, then I'll change that socket.
So I like granny cables, as I've already said, because you can trickle charge the car. You on a reasonably sunny day, you can charge all day if you want to, and you're just using solar power. So I'm filling my car full of sunshine. What's not to like about that? But as Lee has shown in this video, it's the train between a main socket and the charging plug, and of course that needs to be as short as possible. to cut down resistance. Now, resistance reduces the flow of electricity. All cables have resistance. Okay, so, and then sockets have resistance, where this comes against a sliding contact. Unless it's absolutely perfect, there's a bit of resistance. Hence he was talking about sockets getting warm. Now, one thing, if you're going to use an extension lead, always roll it all the way out, because if you don't, heat builds up in the cable and it acts a bit like a transformer or a choke, and you can actually melt the insulation. So always pull that all the way out. Always use the shortest one possible with the fattest cable possible. Okay, and I just wanted to show you, this is a very old socket, trailing lead socket, and I probably haven't used it for a number of years, but let's have a look inside, because you will be surprised. And Owen of Boots Owen, he did a recent video about a problem with a grid inverter. Let's just move that out the way, and let's just see if I can lift this out. There we go. Now look, shall we zoom down on this? That's all it is, yeah, and that goes there. Okay, so that contact goes in there, and that is not very tight. Yeah, but it's not as bad as I've seen before. Let's just zoom right down on that if we can. There, you see. Okay, now it doesn't take much for that to get stretched, and then the contact's not very good, and then you start to get a slight arc and a bit of burning. This is a lot better than I thought it would be. And here is the earth, okay, and it's loose. That's not a good contact at all. And the adapter that Owen took apart, there was no contact at all between the earth and that, and look, it just flops about. So that can happen with the live or the neutral. So you want a good quality socket, okay, so that then you will get very good contact. In addition to that, these are in the UK referred to as a 13 amp plug, and see, it says fused. Well, it's a 13 amp plug because it takes a 13 amp fuse. If you put 13 amps through this continuously, that fuse will blow, everything will get hot. So, as Lee said, the granny cable doesn't draw the full 13 amps because these plugs are not really designed to take that sort of current. Okay, so the other thing is all chargers and bits of equipment use some power, A, to run themselves, and B, it's in the conversion. So in the granny cable and in a pod point or that sort of external domestic charger, those chargers control the flow of the AC, yeah, and so they throttle back the flow of current, and then the charging is through the onboard car charger to change it from AC to high voltage DC. So with Lee's van, it shows the actual charging current, whereas on my car it doesn't. So I've got a wheel meter next to the granny cable socket, and then what it says on the granny cable. With Lee's, he's got a current meter on the external socket, the granny, and then the indicator in his car. But you've got to remember, whatever happens, you're going to have losses in that charging system. Now, if you go to a public charger, yeah, it gives you a figure. It says, well, I'm charging at 35 kilowatts. Is it? I don't know. If your car agrees with it, then that's a good chance. But any potential losses, yeah, will be within the machine, within the charger, before it starts to get to your car. So you're paying 80 pence, but that is for the electricity that actually goes into your car, because it's charging at DC on those fast chargers. So on these small domestics and the grannies, we're throttling back the AC to reduce the flow of current, and then the onboard charger is doing the conversion. Whatever happens, you're going to get losses within a system. So all it is a matter of being aware of what's happening. So if you've got a 7 kilowatt charger, yeah, then maybe the losses within that 7 kilowatt charger are 300 watts, right? And you would probably want to use a 7 kilowatt charger if you're charging off the mains and have got no solar, and you want to charge during that narrow window between, say, 1 a.m. and 6 a.m, that sort of thing. Whereas if you've got solar, as I've already said, it's a totally different kettle of fish. You want to charge slowly so that you're putting sunshine in your batteries, not grid power. Right, I think that's about it. Please comment, give me your thoughts, yeah, on all these sorts of things. I'm going to do an experiment with the pod point, because I can take the front off and still use it. So therefore it would be interesting to know how the pod point throttles back the current. Does it, like a grid diverter, does it reduce the voltage? I don't know. We'll have to see. But it obviously throttles back the current, yeah, because like the pod point, for the pod point I've got out here is only 3.5 kilowatts. It will not provide any more. Anyway, tell me what you think. Thanks to Lee for his contribution to this video. It was he initialized it. It was his thoughts, and then asked me to add on to it with the thoughts that I have. So anyway, catch up with you soon. Cheers.